Good evening, folks. I'd like to call to order the City of West Bend Planning Commission meeting of November 1st, 2022. I acknowledge we have a quorum with Mayor Jenkins and Mike Starl absent and excused, and myself in Mayor Jenkins' place. If we could raise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we've got 5 items on the agenda this evening. Agenda item number 3 is approval of the minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, agenda item number 4, development proposals. We've got a project plan, public hearing, and approval of a resolution designating proposed boundaries and approving project plan for tax increment district number 16 by the City of West Bend. Applicant, City of West Bend. Agent, the same. And Jim, I think, is going to discuss this.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So the city is initiating the creation for tax increment district number 16 to facilitate the redevelopment and rehabilitation of lands along portions of Sand Drive just south of Decorah Road. This area has no public sewer and water serving portions of the lands along Sand Drive, and the road requires some improvements for both vehicles and pedestrian traffic. So the city is proposing to create this district to help facilitate for those improvements and for the redevelopment of the area. So we are asking the Plan Commission to designate the proposed TID number 16 boundary, and along with approving a project plan, we would ask that the commission approve the attached resolution in the packet. If there are questions, Phil Cawson is here from Ellers to go over any questions for the plan.
Anybody have any questions for Phil? Okay.
Only about the boundary. Are there public improvements that are necessary for the Yar ready mix site that put it into the TIF district?
The ready mix site does have improvements for it. This would be for the northern end. The 2 parcels on the east side of Sand Drive have no water or sewer availability to them. So this would help facilitate for those improvements for that.
If I can, the the parcel for the senior center complex does have sufficient facilities, both road and utility infrastructure. But it does, along its development, along with the rest of the development to the north, ultimately drive the improvements needed north of it for the road improvements and possible future intersection improvements from this. So it doesn't need it right now, but it does contribute to what the TID would eventually pay for.
And Mark, I would have asked you this before, but it's just coming to me now, so I mean to catch you unprepared, but not that you wouldn't be prepared, but obviously if Phil approved this and you're behind it, it meets the but-for test? That parcel?
Yeah, Phil Costin with Ellers. First of all, I don't approve anything. I prepare the project plan for your approval, Plan Commission, Common Council. But yes,
you wouldn't prepare the plan if there was something wrong with it.
We go through in the project plan and are required to answer that but-for test. That's in the project plan in front of you, and we do address not just the infrastructure components, but there's also, within the boundary being proposed, not just on that site, there's some contamination issues. There's some demolition issues that have to be dealt with. Some grading issues as well. But in addition to that, the tax increment district does also allow for the payment of potential incentives, which will be discussed as part of a development agreement that allows for this development to proceed. As you know, part of a but-for test is a gap analysis to determine whether or not there's sufficient return from a developer to actually pursue this. So we've gone through and discussed this with the city's team and determined that here there is a gap that will have to be filled with some source of capital. In this case, it'll be tax increment financing. So it's not just the infrastructure, it's also the approval of the potential for incentives to develop this site.
Is that all, Jed? Yeah. Okay, at this time, we'll open up for the public hearing. Anybody out there want to speak? No?
Move to close.
Thank you. Okay, I've got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, and then I need an approval on the resolution designating the proposed boundaries.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I'll abstain.
Sorry.
I'll
Okay,
abstain.
okay, Bernie's abstaining. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and then we need to approve the project plan. I need a motion for that.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'll abstain.
Bernie's abstaining again. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. And then we're moving on to Part B of agenda item number 4, 2020 Comprehensive Plan and Zoning Amendment. Discussion and public hearing at the 6 p.m. meeting for a change in the recommended land use from industrial to mixed use for approximately 20 acres of land located south of East Decorah Road along the west side of Sand Drive and along the east side of Sand Drive, approximately 300 feet north of Eastern Avenue in the comprehensive plan for the City of West Bend by the Department of Development, applicant City of West Bend, agent the same. And Jim, you want to take this one?
Yes,
too?
thank
Okay.
you. So back in September of this year, the Plan Commission reviewed a request for that land use change and set the public hearing for tonight to hear any public comments or concerns regarding the change to the land use plan. The purpose of the plan is, or the purpose of the change is to help facilitate for the redevelopment of the lands within this area, which is also included in the tax increment district number 16 that was just endorsed by the Plan Commission. This change in land use is to help foster the redevelopment and to allow more suitable and location sites for the configuration of the area. The lands within the area are currently zoned B4 commercial, M2 heavy industrial, and the I1 institutional. This zoning out there today exists because of the legacy uses and historic uses of the property. If the land use would be found to be acceptable, staff would also request the zoning change, which is scheduled later on the agenda for consideration. Staff feels that the mixed use is a compatible use within the existing areas and would be most appropriate for the area for redevelopment. Public notice has been published in the paper, along with posted at City Hall and the library and on the city's website. And all owners within 200 feet were notified of the public hearing, and staff received no inquiries regarding the change. If Plan Commission finds the land use to be acceptable, staff would ask for approval of a resolution acknowledging the change and also recommending the change to the Common Council for final approval.
Okay, any discussion or questions for Jim or Mark or anyone else involved? Public hearing? What's that? Yeah. If there's no discussion, we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone from the audience want to say anything about this particular item? No? Looking for a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Bernie's abstaining again. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and then we need a motion for the resolution on the land use. I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Bernie's abstaining again. And that motion carries. Okay. All right. Part 2, Section B, ZA 22006, public hearing for a zoning amendment request to rezone approximately 23.8 acres of land located south of East Decorah Road along the west side of Sand Drive and along the east side of Sand Drive approximately 300 feet north of Eastern Avenue from M2 Heavy Industrial District to I-1 Institutional and Public Service District and B4 General Business and Warehousing District 2 Mixed Use District. Tax key numbers 1119.242.0008, 1119.242.0009. Do I gotta keep going? Yep. And then 1119.242.0011, 119.242.0028 by applicant City of West Bend and agent the same.
Thank you.
Jim, you want to take that?
So
one?
this
Okay.
is the follow-up for the
Sorry.
zoning, which is to be consistent for the comprehensive plan change. This is for the 23.8 acres. Again, the purpose is to help facilitate the redevelopment of the area for suitable uses. Again, property owners within 200 feet were notified. Staff did not receive any inquiries. So this change would change the existing zoning from the commercial, heavy industrial, and the institutional to mixed use. So staff is looking for endorsement to this to move to Common Council for final approval.
Okay, if there's no discussion among the council, we'll open up for public hearing. Anyone from the crowd looking to discuss this item?
Motion to close public hearing.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then we're looking for a motion to recommend this item to the city council.
I'll make the motion to recommend.
We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Abstain.
Bernie's abstaining, and Alderman Dolnick has a question.
For the folks watching at home, I wonder if Jim or Mark could explain what mixed-use zoning means, since all of this is going to mixed use, and that's not as clear-cut as industrial or
Sure.
the other ones.
That's a good idea.
So under the mixed use zoning, we allow various uses within there. We allow some commercial uses, residential uses, institutional uses, civic uses. So it's a mixture of different uses within there. We could have, say, a redevelopment of a building with commercial on the first floor and residential up on the second floor. So what this does is it opens up the ability to have different types of uses on the same property within the area. So it's not just a straight commercial use or a straight residential use for a specific parcel.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second and abstaining from this one. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, moving on to section C, certified survey map, CSM-22-016, certified survey map to combine two parcels into one at 1508 Highlandview Drive by Theodora Balke. The applicant, Theodora Balke, pardon me if I'm ruining that last name, North 161, West 20667, Cami Lane in Jackson, Wisconsin, and the agent is the same. Jim, take it
Thank
away.
you. So this certified survey map is on Highlandview Drive. Back in 2007, the Plan Commission and the Council granted a variance for design exception for the lot due to the unique configuration of that lot at the time. The owner has recently acquired the additional lands to the north and now wishes to combine the two portions into one property for the development of a single-family home there. The lot is zoned RS3, which is single-family residential. The certified survey map does include the existing easements within the lot. There is a utility easement that actually cuts across the area of the two properties that they acquired. So the easement will actually bisect the two properties, but even though it bisects it, it still allows the building pad for that lot to be larger than what was originally proposed due to the setback of that original property line. The only condition that staff would recommend for this is that a lot-specific grading plan be provided at the time of building permit and be approved by staff prior to the issuance of that building permit, just to ensure that drainage is appropriate and that it does not interfere with the utility easement that exists out there. There are a couple of technical corrections that would need to be made on the CSM prior to recording. So we ask that would also be a condition with that. So staff does recommend approval of the CSM with the two conditions listed.
Okay, go ahead, Max.
I just want to make a comment on the requirement for the lot-specific grading plan. When this property was involved in a prior CSM with some conditions to allow the lot to be buildable, the grading plan was provided prior to the CSM being approved. In this case, I just want to point out to the applicant that because of that grading plan, we will have some review time prior to them being able to get that building permit. So I don't know what the timing of the building construction is, but please plan to have some extra time before that to allow us to review that grading plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. Any further discussion, questions? Okay, so we're looking for a motion to approve the CSM with conditions.
I motion to approve. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay, CSM 22-22-015 certified map to combine two parcels into one, located on the south side of Sand Drive, west of 301 Sand Drive by West Bend Senior Center Partners LLC. Applicant West Bend Senior Partners LLC, 4508 Dollar Drive, West Bend, Wisconsin. Agent Adam Hurdle, American Architectural Group Incorporated, 3350 South River Road, West Bend, Wisconsin. And Jim?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So this certified survey map is on Sand Drive. This is for the potential site plan that's up on the agenda. The purpose of this CSM is to combine existing unplatted lands into one developable lot for the development of the parcel. The 14.75 acre lot is zoned both I-1 institutional and service district and RM4 multifamily residential. There is a small section of non-shoreline wetland also on the northern end of the site. The CSM identifies the existing easements throughout the site, along with the wetlands and the isolated natural resource area, which is a form of environmental corridor. The CSM also provides a 40-foot wide right-of-way dedication for Vine Street, which completes the needed right-of-way connection for Vine Street within this area and is consistent with the official map. Staff would recommend approval of the CSM with the condition that the CSM be approved by the Common Council accepting the right-of-way dedication for Vine Street.
Okay, any questions for Jim? Go ahead, Alderman Dolling.
Just in case anyone, Vine Street got brought up, and occasionally there are rumors sweeping the area of the neighbors that Vine Street is getting ready to be extended. This is preserving the right-of-way, but there are no plans in the foreseeable future to actually build Vine Street through
No,
there?
this is our city's official map, which is a document that we have to review every time we do a land division, requires us to preserve that right-of-way dedication.
Right.
And until the council would choose to do those improvements, it stays as right-of-way right now.
Yep.
Okay, then, once again, we're looking for a motion for approval with conditions.
Second?
Got a motion and a second.
Abstain.
And any, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Is this one? Okay, number 2, SP-22-015, site plan for a drive-through coffee shop located east of Hobby Lobby. Did I skip one? Okay. I had a feeling I was doing that. Okay, thank you. SP-22-020, site plan for I see, 115 units, see, that's kind of an important one. 115 unit senior housing facility and 54 senior living multifamily units at 285 Sand Drive by West Bend Senior Partners LLC, applicant West Bend Senior Partners LLC, 4508 Dollar Drive, West Bend, Wisconsin, agent Adam Hurdle, American Architectural Group Incorporated, 3350 South River Road, West Bend, Wisconsin. And Jim, once again.
All right, thank you. So this site plan proposal is for a 115-unit assisted living building, ranging from independent living units all the way to memory care units. The development also includes 54 units of a single-story independent living multifamily buildings, which would be located south and east of the 115-unit institutional building. The property is zoned I-1 institutional public and service district for the large 115-unit building for the institutional use, and the RM4 multifamily district is for the south and east side of the development for the multifamily units being proposed. The site has access to Sand Drive via a single access driveway. The site itself also will be served by a network of private roadways throughout the development, and the private roadways will be named and used for addressing purposes throughout the development. Parking restrictions will also be placed on the private road to ensure the vehicle access within the development, since the driveways or roadway is not to city standards, actually to a private drive width of 24 feet. So we are restricting the parking within those drive lanes. 87 parking stalls and 6 barrier-free stalls are being provided for the 115-unit building, and an additional 108 parking stalls are provided for the 54-unit independent multifamily living units. Pedestrian access is also being provided throughout the property to Sand Drive and then also to the Eisenbahn Trail. The utilities within this development will be private and will be served by an 8-inch sanitary sewer main and an 8-inch water main for the development. Stormwater management has been submitted and is under review for the project, and the site grades have been designed to drain to catch basins, which would ultimately lead to the stormwater facilities on the northern edge of the development. Site lighting is being provided throughout the site. Most of the lighting will be on the building or mounted on the building to provide lighting throughout the development. There are lighting fixtures or light poles located on one of the private roads that run north-south on the far east end, and then also around the parking areas of the 115-unit building that's being proposed. Adequate landscaping is being provided throughout the site and around the building sites themselves, and staff has no concerns with that. The architectural building elevations have been provided for the various buildings throughout the development. The assisted living is going to consist of a Bourbon Trail colored modular brick, along with Boulder Creek stones, and the main finish is going to be a vinyl siding with some accents of a shake style vinyl siding also in the gables. There is an alternative that's been provided for the building finish. Instead of depending on the availability and the pricing of the siding, they are also proposing hardy plank as an alternative if it's available for the project. The independent buildings, the independent living buildings, or the multifamily buildings, are going to consist of the Boulder Creek stone veneers along with vinyl siding. And again, they're also going to provide a alternative of the hardy plank depending on the availability and the cost for this. Both the buildings meet the design requirements for urban design. As a part of the development, we are also going to be requiring a developer's agreement to be in place. This is to take care of various elements, which include the age restriction for the senior living, along with parking restrictions on the private roads, sprinkler requirements of the buildings, payment of park fees, and the timing of the improvements of the site for the building and the road improvements. So staff would recommend approval of the site plan with the listed conditions.
Okay, Max, go ahead.
I have several items. The first one is I would like to add a condition to get an approval of the traffic impact analysis. I had reviewed the traffic impact analysis that was submitted. I had a couple minor comments. The applicant was going to check on a couple items, and I'm still waiting for that to do the formal approval. So it's not approved yet, and so I just want to add that condition. There is some sidewalk proposed in the Vine Street right away, so we'll need to get a GOP to allow this private item in the road right away. I don't know if, Mark, if we're going to do this with the developer's agreement, or are we going to do it separate GOP?
You're referring to the trail connection?
Yes.
Yeah, we would do that in the developer's agreement.
Okay. I had a question for the designer applicant, and it's regarding the sidewalk around the pond. Is this purely recreational sidewalk?
No, it's actually to meet the ADA requirements to get the 5% max up
Okay.
there.
Yeah, but it will be for people it's not just for maintenance, is my question.
Oh, correct, yes. Mhm.
Yes, it is
That's
for
correct.
recreational?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I did not know.
Yep.
So the next item is regarding that sidewalk, because it is in the environmental corridor, and I'm going to let Mark explain that, but do we need Plan Commission to take a specific action with an exemption to design standard?
Technically, no. It's not primary environmental corridor. It's isolated natural resource area, but it's the non-wetland portion of an isolated natural resource area. So the intrusion is permitted, but merely if the commission does approve the site plan, the approval itself would be granting any exception, even if it wasn't explicit.
Okay. I have two more items. So I noticed that there was a phasing on the site plan, expanding over 3 years, and the surface lift of asphalt is not planned to be installed until the end of that phasing. So I know that in public roads we limit this to 1 year. Just let the road take a winter, some beating with the construction equipment and all that. We have a concern with, obviously, the stormwater will not reach the inlets because they're above the binder course of asphalt. So I just wanted to bring that up to the attention of the developer, that you may see, because you may have in the first phase people moving in and they might complain about water sitting there. I just wanted to say that. And then the last item I have is a comment that we made with the stormwater management permit application, where there's proposal to modify existing drainage items, stormwater facilities, pipes, and the pond, the swale that extends there. And that involved an easement that was granted to the Tuckaway Subdivision Homeowners Association. And also in that easement, it looks like there would be sidewalk crossing and some patios extending in there. And we had pointed out in our review comments for the applicant to contact the owner of those improvements in order to let them know that, to negotiate the change that they're proposing to those improvements. So that's what I wanted to say about that, and I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to let you guys do your homework and contact the lawful owner and resolve that. And I think that's all I had on this.
Thank you, Max. Did you have something? Yeah, Alderman Dalton.
I had a couple things. So the light fixtures for the assisted living area and along Street D are going to be 22 feet high. And one of the nearby residents expressed a concern, which I think is legitimate. Do the light poles along Street D have to be 22 feet high? Can they be more reasonable? Because there's a concern about light spilling over into their backyards, I suspect, was the source of their concern.
We can lower those down for sure.
That was
Sure.
easy. Okay.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Is there a height that you would recommend, or just make it more?
That's out of my area.
If you just do a comparison of the sight line from those homes, like we did previously, over
Sure.
that berm relative to those, I think you're going to find it. I did a quick down and dirty after we received the inquiry this afternoon, that you might be down into like the 15, 16 foot range at the maximum. Below that, you start, starts not being visible
Sure.
from those homes, from the first floor of those homes.
Okay.
Your photometric diagram basically shows that there isn't any light spillage from it,
Right.
but it is an obvious change, and it will be visible. The light source will be visible. It's actually no different than in other single-family areas where you see it'll be actually less visible than what would be typical, for example, the public lights in the cul-de-sacs in front of those homes, type thing. But since we can screen it, it'd be nice to try.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Do you know if those light poles will be owned by We Energies?
No, I believe it would be private, I would guess.
Okay. I know we had situations where if we do a road reconstruction and We Energies comes through, then they put in those LED bulbs. Now suddenly it becomes a problem because it's a little brighter. And somebody had mentioned that you can also put some screens around the fixture to avoid, like Mark was saying, the pollution to go out, and then keep it
The cutoff.
yeah.
lights? Yep. Yeah, these
So,
are designed as cut
yeah.
off, I believe already, maybe. I think. I'd have
I
to
don't know
look
if,
at that, but-
you know, if that helps if you can't go any lower, but then you still have some spillage, then you might look at that.
From the product code, it looks like you have house side shielding type fixtures spec'd for those two poles that they were talking about on D Street.
Okay.
But I don't know if that, with the orientation, whether that's going to do anything to the east. So you
Sure.
may just take a look at that, please.
Yep, will do. Thank you.
And a couple of
Check it
things. we don't usually get too involved in colors as long as they're meeting the architectural code, but are those, the independent living, are they going to be black in color? I mean, it's referred to as charcoal smoke, and the picture looks, I mean, they look black.
No, it's not black. It's
Okay.
more of like a charcoal gray.
Okay.
It's difficult to sometimes get an exact color on a 2D image like that. And there's also hatching in there. So you're seeing multiple lines, I think probably printed together at a very close scale. So it'll be a gray color.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just had to ask.
It's not intended to be black, though.
Okay. And I was just going to mention the traffic impact analysis, because traffic was a very big concern from the start, and it concluded that there will be almost no impact. I know it's hard to believe because of the development, but it's the nature of the development and how it will be used. And the traffic engineers were out there for 3 separate days and separate days over several weeks, and concluded that it just is not going to cause a problem. It doesn't at this point require anything changing at the intersection with Decorah. So I just wanted to kind of amplify that if anyone was curious. And just finally, I was going to say, this is a wonderful site plan. We started, compared to where we started, and it's been a long journey, and it's ended very nicely. So thanks.
Mark, I know this isn't a public hearing, but these folks have a question. Can I let them ask a question?
Totally your call,
Okay.
Chair.
If you've got a question, come on up to the podium so we can hear what you're looking at. It's not technically a public hearing, so if you can keep it brief. Okay.
I guess my name is Maureen Giacomini. I live right along the trail. I'm on Hargrove, but the trail's right next to me, and this is going right next to the trail.
What's your address? Your full name and
204
address?
Hargrove Place. I had one question. On all the other things that we've been talking about, we see like a map of something. We don't seem to have a map of this development. I'm seeing, there.
There you go.
Okay. I'm seeing buildings. Now, there's going to be the 54 senior living multifamily. Those are going to be like single stories on that? Or are they multi-story?
No, they're single stories. That's what these buildings are right here. It's a
Okay.
single story,
Right.
multifamily building.
Which is a whole lot better it eases an awful lot of concerns.
Yeah, there was a lot of
Thank you
concern
very
from the
much.
neighborhood, and we heard that and took that to the developer, and they've rectified a lot of that. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be nice.
And
Yeah.
it's very, very much appreciated by all the people who live right there. I had one other question.
Does the single stories follow the trail, or does the multi-story
Oh, yeah,
building?
where is that? Can we put that one back up again? Because it's really hard to see where's the assisted living building?
So the assisted living building is going to be right where that hand is. It's all right in here.
Okay.
He doesn't have the phasing diagram with him.
Which one?
Jim, do you have the phasing diagram?
I don't have that one in the.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the phasing in my.
Oh, you don't have the phasing one?
No.
All right.
Unfortunately not. That's the only one I have in display.
We're okay? Awesome. Awesome. Very good. Okay. Any further discussion by anybody?
I'll abstain.
Yeah.
Okay. Bernie's abstaining again. So we're looking for approval with the conditions and the additional condition that Max added. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, my condition was to get the TIA approval.
Okay. And the lighting change. So we're looking at approval and all that.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now, Go to number 2. SP 20-22-015, site plan for a drive-through coffee shop located east of the Hobby Lobby at 1800 South Main Street by Corta West Bend LLC. Applicant Corta West Bend LLC, 16232 Southwest 92nd Avenue, Miami, Florida. Agent Mark Hertzfeld, Design to Construct, North 173 West 12010 Northwest Passage, Jackson, Wisconsin. And
Last one.
last one. You want to do it? Let's do it.
Sure. So this site plan is for Lot 2 of the certified survey map that the Plan Commission approved back in October. This site is actually located in front of the Hobby Lobby building. The property is zoned B1 Community Business District. So the proposal is for a 7-brew drive-through only coffee shop. The size of the building is going to be 1,371 square feet. Access to the site will be from the main east-west driveway from Main Street, which is located north of the location here. The site plan identifies 6 standard parking stalls along with 1 barrier-free. This is adequate parking provided for the drive-through since there is no indoor seating or outdoor seating on site, so additional seating or additional parking was not required for the development. The drive-through service queues extend the length of the facility north to the east-west parking drive. There are no menu boards for this, so orders are taken by employees, and the employee will be located through various locations of the site based on how many cars are there to help facilitate with the queuing of the orders. A traffic impact analysis was originally submitted for the entire development. Revisions have been made and resubmitted to engineering and is under review for the overall development of the site. Sanitary sewer and water will be extended from the mains that exist on the main commercial to the north at the northwest. Stormwater management has also been submitted and is under review, and the grades have been designed to drain the site to the north and east and then discharge to the stormwater pond on the north end of the site. 1 light pole will be provided in the site to provide adequate lighting for the overall development. Perimeter landscaping and site landscaping is being provided in accordance with the design requirements for the city. The architectural building elevations identify the signage on the buildings. So wall signs will be provided on the south, east, and west sides of the building. And the site plan also identifies a ground sign located at the southeast corner of the site. Prior to the issuance and installation of these signs, sign permits will need to be obtained to ensure that they meet the sign code requirements. The architectural building elevations identify the materials that consist of a gray brick veneer and also a zinc gray finished metal panel. And royal blue accent trim will be included along the roof lines of the building and then also the canopy on the west side of the building. Staff would recommend approval of the site plan with the listed conditions.
Okay, any questions for Jim or Mark or anybody else?
I would just like to talk about the siding, the metal siding. That does not seem to be something we've done before. Does that fit within our code?
So we did make comment on that in regards to the urban design requirements. We did ask that they did provide a spec sheet on that. That is an architectural metal panel that they'd be using. So we have used architectural metal panels in the past, but again, it's under the discretion of the Planning Commission.
Where have we used those in the past? And the only thing that's coming to mind is the old Fleet Farm building.
We have used them for the Fleet Farm building. We've had various versions of the metal panels, mostly on the automobile buildings. Those were smooth surface ones versus I guess you could say a ribbed version, corrugated version of it. But the architect is here to answer the questions regarding that.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Mark Hertzfeld with Design to Construct. I understand the concern with the metal panel. Everybody has a little bit of a stigma with that. The metal panel we're suggesting is more than just your typical ribbed metal panel. What comes to mind very often when we talk about metal panel is the typical industrial building, the metal panel profiles that go on that. That's not this product. This is an architectural product. You can see in the images, it's got a much deeper reveal to a much sharper. It creates a lot more shadow line within the reveals of the metal panel. It's much deeper. It gets applied over top of the substrate. It's not the main product itself. So you've got your typical metal building or your typical wall construction, insulation, substrate, and then this is an applied decorative material versus your typical industrial type product. It's not going to get the ripples and the different things that you typically see with an industrial application. It is from a company that sells strictly just decorative metal panels for this kind of an application. This type of product is, for what it's worth, is extremely popular right now. For the last couple of years, this product is exploding all over the place because it gives you can get a sheen from it. It comes with a lot of different finishes. It's extremely durable. It's pre-finished, so it doesn't need to be maintained, painted, refinished. It's just a really versatile product, and it's extremely popular right now. This is a product that's on this building, and the corporate structure for this company has applied this to their buildings, and it's being built all over the United States. So it is it comes to the client as a corporate standard. So we think that it's a great product. We don't think there's any concerns with it, and we think it's going to look very nice.
Given that this maybe doesn't align with our codes the way it would, is there an alternative that the commission could consider if this were not to be approved? Not
that I'm aware of. In talking with Jim and Mark, they did bring the concern to me, and the concern was that it wasn't just your typical industrial metal panel being applied to this. We did provide them with the information from the manufacturer and that it was a decorative panel. As I mentioned, it is a corporate standard. So at this point, I don't have an alternate for you. We did make an alternate for the brick. We originally had a different product in here, so we were able to find an alternate for the brick. But this product is very, very specific. I don't know if there is one right now.
Okay. Yeah, I totally respect that. I do have some concerns given the location. It's a very prominent corner in our city, and yep. We have held other buildings in the area to our codes, and so I'm a little bit hesitant about that panel.
Okay, and I understand that completely. I think that talking about the prominence of the corner in the city, I live in West Bend. This particular corner is just a little bit of a blight, right? It's just this dead parking lot out in front of Hobby Lobby. It's cracked, and it never gets used because Hobby Lobby never fills it up. It's just this empty, dead space. And if you look at the site plan we've put together and the building we're proposing out there, it's gonna invigorate that. It's gonna take that old parking lot, add a ton of landscaping and a new building and a lot of activity. And we think that this is a positive impact to that corner.
Sarah, for what it's worth, I've seen this product a couple times. I guess most recently down in Columbia, Missouri. It's not like the product that you're probably envisioning and how I would have envisioned, but it's a quality product. And so
doesn't look like the side of a shed.
No, it does not.
Okay.
It's a commercial grade, high end.
Yeah.
It's the gauge of it's really thick.
Very thick.
So to your point, it like oil canning and stuff doesn't appear to be an issue. So.
Yeah, I'm just hesitant, and maybe it's the color in that it's gray,
I agree.
And it looks unfinished like metal. That might be part of the problem, but yeah, I am having a hard time with that.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with the siding. I have a question with that. Help explain that area between the cooler and the main building.
Sure. So the way that the business operates, they don't have any order boards. They don't have, you don't go up and have the speaker that you yell into to try to get them to come out to you. They actually have staff out there working the site when there are people there to order. They come up to you with a tablet. They talk to you about what your order is. They walk with you if they're moving through the line. And as these people are working out there, that is a little bit of a staging zone for them to come and go. There is a roof over top of that area. In a little bit of inclement weather, they can get a little bit of cover from the rain. It's got an infrared heater for the cooler weather, so they can come in and out. They can stage in and out of that area. And it also creates a little bit of cover for as they go in and out of storage area, the storage for the cooler. We have our electrical panels and things like that in that area, so that stuff's not visible on the outside of the building. So it's kind of a multifunctional space for us for how it works.
Okay, that would explain the 2 lanes too. I didn't understand how that was gonna work.
Okay, so
That kind of like a bus hop or bellhop, whatever you call it,
yeah,
they come out your car then, right?
Right, there's 2 lanes
Okay.
of traffic, and during really busy times, both lanes will be full of cars. And it's like the old drive up. The people are going to come out to you and they're going to take orders from you because they're turning people through there every couple of minutes. So their turnover is one of their selling points. So you don't wait in line and wait your turn to be able to order. If there's 15 cars in line, they're making their way back and they're taking your order so that by the time you actually get to the front, your drink's waiting for you and you're out. It's one of the ways that, we've got close to 30 cars of stacking, which is pretty incredible for pretty much any drive-through. And then with the multiple people out there working the cars, they just turn them over much quicker. So.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Any more questions for Mark? Yeah, go ahead.
It's not a plan commission issue. It's if this is how they want to do business, fine, but I'm just curious. So in February, you're going to have people standing outside doing this?
Yes, sir.
Has this been done in the snow region of country?
This particular brand, no, but you do see that with Chick-fil-A and a couple of other industries or businesses in the area. So it is a business model that works. It's new to these folks, but in this area, but it is a business model that does work.
Yeah. Like I said, neither here nor there. I was just curious.
Yep, it's definitely for the younger group. You want to catch me out there doing it in inclement weather, my knees wouldn't work. But for the people who are going to be doing this type of thing, it's perfectly fine.
They must have 7 brew parkas or something like that. Yeah. Okay,
coffee keeps
any
you warm.
further discussion? All right, I'm looking for thank you very much, Mark, appreciate
You're
it. Looking for a recommendation for approval with conditions.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with no more business before the planning commission, I adjourn by the call of the chair. You all have a good night.